Okay. So it's recording, and then we'll post it to the group so people can see it. If anybody
Yeah.
wants to join, they can join, and that'll make things interesting.
Okay. Fun.
Not sure. I mean, I didn't know if we wanted to add this to Christina's group,
Yeah, you
the
can.
link, or
Yeah, that'd be fine.
okay.
Get people to know
Yeah,
that we're live.
I gotta find a group.
Let me see. I wonder if I can share it on my page too. Let's see.
There we are.
Won't let me share it.
It probably won't let you share it because I'm the person who started it. So, okay, I'm posting it in Christina's group. So we'll see if that does anything, if anybody wants to join us. But since we are recording, I am gonna change all. Holy moly.
Don't hurt yourself.
My chair. It's because my cat has dropped stuff on the floor. I just knocked a little.
Oh, silly cat.
My cat just likes to knock everything on the floor. I don't know if anybody else has cats like that. You don't, but Max likes
I do
to
not.
your stuff though, doesn't he?
Max does. If I drop anything on the floor, he will chew it because, you know, that's giving him permission to chew on it.
Yeah.
Piper doesn't do that though. Max, on the other hand, he's still a puppy, even though he's 5.
Yeah. Some dogs are like that though. Some dogs will always chew on stuff, no matter how old they are. Just like some cats will always knock stuff off. So Mako is only 6 months, so you know. He
is Amberly starting to like him better or no?
She puts up with him. If he gets too close, she'll let him know he's too close.
He's too close. It's like a normal sibling relationship, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And he does. He follows her around like a little.
Oh.
He's like, you should play with me.
Uh-huh.
It definitely makes things interesting in our house. But yeah.
Do you want to start us off? Can you edit it?
No, I don't.
And then post it? Oh.
I don't think so. I don't believe so. I think we're just stuck with what we have.
We're just going, huh?
We're just doing
This
it.
is real life with Hannah and Megan.
Swinging it like we always do, Megan. Megan,
this is the name of our game.
Hey, let's do. Yeah, I will preface this by saying we did think about this last night.
We did.
To the point of, hey, what? Let's just do this. But maybe we should do this, not thinking really exactly where we were going to do it. We had multiple suggestions. We had some ideas, but.
Yeah, so we'll have to, like, next time we do this, we'll have to figure out how to do it actually live in the group. Yeah. Because I know there's a way that you can.
Maybe if you had started it, because you have OBS on your thing. So
yeah,
we'll just have to, for everyone listening, you get to see the back scenes of.
Yeah, you get to see
our preparation of what it's like to have one person on your screen. Because Facebook is just not very nice.
Not friendly right now.
I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they're trying to avoid people who are trying to make money doing live stuff. But
maybe,
like for us people who are just doing it for fun.
For fun, yeah.
It's like
you're ruining everything, Facebook.
I know. And during this time, right now, we all need to be able to like have fun stuff, right?
Do.
So
Be able to go live and chat and just combos. Yep.
I will say no one has tried to come in. Like I could see when you tried. Oh well. But anyway, so we were going to talk about, what were we thinking about talking about, Megan?
We're going to talk about, I'm totally drawing a blank. Oh, mojo in times of crisis like we're in right now. And how it's affecting us and how we can get over, you know, not having mojo, because I don't really have mojo right now, and
but I've seen
really affecting me.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. Like I'm very much, but I've been in this crisis, non-crisis mode of thinking for a little bit. So I think that's part of my problem. But I've seen a lot of people looks like they're getting a lot of stuff done, and they're like really using this to get some ground in their scrappiness and stuff, which is awesome, because I think that in a way it really does help you get through when times are like unrestful or uneasy or unpredictable, in which they are.
They are very unpredictable right now.
You know, and really all you can predict is what you put on a page. Well, sort of. You know, I mean, it doesn't turn out. So it would be interesting to see if it's the people who already know their stuff is unpredictable, if they're the ones scrapping better, or if it's, I mean, I don't know. I wonder the psychology behind that.
Yeah, it is interesting. Well, because I've noticed there's a couple people, like, so Sandy, we were talking about, has been, you know, going strong for like 2 months. And then another one that I've noticed is Melanie. So Sarah's sister, Melly, and she's been scrapbooking a ton, and she just posted it on Instagram, and she was like, I don't even remember how many layouts she created, but I think it was like 28 or 30 layouts last month or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, just that's so crazy. Like, well, and I think the thing too for me is that I compare myself to other people all the time. Even though I don't think I do, I think that's one of the things that gets me down, is like, why can't I be creating like Sandy? Or, you know, like, I have a problem acknowledging that I do that. And I, you know, my life is different than their lives, you know, like I am still working, and I'm working, you know, 30 to 40 hours a week, and then I come home and I just don't have the energy. And so I just can't put myself up on this pedestal, is what I've learned, and just kind of do it when I feel like it. But it's just, I don't know, it's hard when you see everybody out there creating, and then you just don't feel it, you know.
Like where I have, like, especially this week, we took spring break, and I've had all week to create. Well, I've had all week. I mean, there was some cleaning and other, you know, spending time with family that was involved too, which also is important. But it's like I've had a lot of time to sit in my room. And I've sat in my room. I actually have taken, you know, like, but it's like I get in here and I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. And I start something, I'm like, I'm not feeling this. And I think for me, finding, like, just being okay with just starting something and not having to finish it is just like being easy on myself, because it's like I don't have to finish something if I don't want to. You know, it's like it's like if I finish it, I finish it, and just like being okay with that. So it's more of like just being accepting of this. It is what it is. You know, at least I started like the process of getting in my room. Like I came in here, and I tried to do something, you know.
And that's a really good idea. It kind of reminds me of, so Vicky Booten is doing this new, like, I don't know what she's calling it. Have you seen it? This month, every single day, she's doing like a new mixed media page or something. Like it's a new
I
challenge.
think I've seen a little bit. I haven't really went on.
I
like,
haven't.
Page.
I haven't looked into it.
Exactly.
But Melly's the one that kind of turned me onto it because she's been doing it along with Vicky, and something like that is kind of like, that's one of the things that I really like about our industry and like this community is we're trying to uplift each other during this hard time, because I'm not the only one that's having a problem, you know, like we're all having like this emotional time right now. And so it's nice that people are giving away all these free classes or all these free products or, you know, like challenges. And like, you know, Christina's doing the Secret Not Secret. She's doing a ton of challenges, and like Sarah with her Facebook group, they're doing challenges every day and stuff like that. And so it's just nice how we can all like come together and put these things out there to kind of help us when we do have creative time.
Well, and I think that's a step, like having something to accomplish as a step forward, because one, you have something to look forward to or a goal to obtain, where it's like, you know, like I think sometimes I just go in my room, and if I don't have a plan, like of course I'm not going to execute anything because I don't have a plan either. I mean, so it's like that's half of it, is sometimes just having a little plan. It's like, oh, you know, oh, there's this challenge, let me do it. You know, and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and when you're in a group with a whole bunch of other people who are doing stuff, you can be inspired by what you're seeing them create, and then you're like, oh yeah, you know, and then you start getting ideas. And it's like, so sometimes it's just being intentional about exposing yourself to the stuff that's being created already, so that you get that inspiration, because the more you see it, the more you are likely to just go out and try to play with your stuff. I know I bought some stuff, so I'm just waiting for it to come into the store, because some of the stuff that I bought was not ready yet. So who knows when it'll come.
It'll get there, don't worry.
I know, someday. But I want to touch it, even if I don't.
I know.
Yeah, I want to touch the new stuff. Though I did get some mixed media stuff too, and I've been playing with that. And
you have been playing. Yeah.
So, I mean, so it's not like I've not been doing stuff. I've just not made anything all together.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of feel like maybe take a picture of those things that you have created and like share them on Instagram or in the groups or something. Because I feel like when I get people commenting or liking what I post, that kind of spurs me on too. Like, oh, I feel really good when somebody's like, oh, I really love this, you know, like. So even maybe if it's not a finished project, maybe I need to just start saying, hey, I created something today.
Well, and I think it brings awareness that not everyone's finishing something, because I imagine I'm not the only one who started stuff. And, you know, it sits half done on your desk, right?
Yeah.
And when you see that other people are doing it, you're like, okay, good. And I think that goes into that whole sense of that when you feel like everybody else is getting all their stuff done and they seem like they have all this energy and time to get something done. And then, but it's like when you're seeing other people who are only able to do part of, but they're still doing something. And so that goes, but wait, you know, if they're just taking 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, 2 hours, but they're, you know, and they're cool with not finishing something entirely, but just to start on something and work on it and plug along, and they're still sharing their process. I think that is an inspiration in itself too, you know, because then you realize you're not the only one who's having a hard time finishing something.
Yeah, that's
true. And I think we all deal with stress in a whole different way, but we can collectively come together at this time because we're all going through a lot of similar things. I mean, obviously every person's situation is different, but you know, we all are in this kind of together at the same time, where it's like, I know when Lonnie had cancer, it's like just you and your immediate family is the one going through it. And so it's kind of hard to bring people into like how it feels. So it's like we have this great opportunity right now. We all are kind of in a similar place, and we can all work through it together. And I think being creative is a good way to do it. I mean, it is hard, and I think sometimes knowing what you should be focusing craft wise on is a different thing. You might have to change it up. And I think that's one of the things also that I'm realizing is like every season in your life, you sometimes have to change the way you do it. Like change your process, change the focus. It's like you're in a season where your boys are not really wanting photos of them, so you don't have that content. But how do you change it so that you can still be productive and still enjoy the hobby that you love? So and it's like, and maybe this time, doing Project Life, because it's all stuff that's happening right now, is not the best way to go about doing it. Like, I know last year I completely stopped doing Project Life because my life was really crazy and I was just not willing and wanting to document photos that I was still working through a whole bunch of stuff. It's like, yes, I was scrapbooking. I just didn't do Project Life, and I needed to do that for me. And I think that this time, and that could be part of the reason why getting things finished or accomplished or that mojo is lacking, because we have to think about it different. Like we need to come to it differently with this, like, okay, this isn't the way that I used to do it, isn't working. How can I change this up so I am more productive? Is there something else that is going to inspire me differently?
Well, and now that you say that, like talking about how Project Life wasn't working for you last year because of everything you were going through, it actually kind of makes me think about this year and documenting my kids, because the photos that I take, that they do let me take, are just like little everyday moments. And it's like, so I'm sitting here thinking, well, maybe Project Life would work for me, because I don't really have any big moments that I need to scrapbook a whole 12 by 12 page with, So maybe Project Life is what I need to focus on more. And just kind of put in those little moments and just do a little journaling and a little, embellishing here and there and be done with it. And that's how I document our lives right now. Because my life basically, especially this last month, has just been work, home, kids, and that's it. Like I'm not doing anything else. And so maybe that is a good way to kind of document what our life is right now, is only Project Life and just not worrying about doing the 12 by 12 pages.
Maybe it's doing traveler's notebooks, and or maybe it means you pulling out a regular notebook, writing a whole bunch of stuff, and then going, okay, how can I turn this into an art journal page? What can I use from this, and just play, like, because that's one thing that's been helping me a lot right now, is just getting messy, and just, it's really not even about making a layout, it's just playing with media. And then, because it's like all these things that are confusing or, like I said, unpredictable, you can just put stuff on a page and create something beautiful out of what you have.
So what this is telling me is you need to finish your class so then I can take your class and learn how to do all these.
I know. I've been thinking about that, and I'm thinking I really should get my butt moving on.
You need to.
Because I have, as part of it is just, it's, some of it is having the energy to sit down for longer periods of time. But I mean, it definitely is in my thought box here to get done. It's like, this would be the perfect time. But I think this is one of those times also, though, and I've realized this, is that as much it's like, if you are productive and you notice you're productive, use that productivity. But if you feel that you're not being productive and you don't have the inspiration to be productive, creating all these goals for yourself is probably not really the best way. The best way is going, okay, like I said, say, hey, let me sit down for 10, 15 minutes. Let's see what I do. If I still feel like doing more after that, go ahead. But just kind of like sticking to small things. Like, let me just do something creative in my room, see where it goes, you know. And someone else, I was commenting on Teresa, she posted something about not feeling bad about being productive or something like that. And I was saying, you know, it's like, I've been spending time in my room, but I just don't feel inspired to really like finish anything. And the one of the ladies was like, you know, sometimes when I'm in my room, I'll just organize. And I was like, that's a good idea. I'm not sure that really is much inspiration. Like, I'm not inspired to
organize.
But in a way, it does get you thinking about, what do I have? You might see something that you weren't necessarily inspired by at another point, and you might be inspired. Or it might give you a chance to get rid of stuff that you know you're not going to use. I mean, all of us are realizing, you know, even though we can't buy a ton of stuff right now, probably, or, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't able to buy stuff because their income has really changed. But you're realizing, well, this is what I was saving up for, right? But it also is a time to think about, well, hey, what do I have a ton of stuff that I probably won't ever use? Even though I might have all the time to use it, you know?
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I think, just like I said, changing the way you're thinking about it, I think, is sometimes just the best. Like, let's come from it from a different angle and do things differently.
Rethink your approach.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's how life is. Like, something happens and you have to rethink your approach or how you're going to do life or whatever.
Yeah.
And scrapbooking is kind of the same. It's like, your life is constantly changing. So why would you constantly have the same setup for your scrapbook? You know, like, and I don't know. I think that this is because this is the biggest change in my life. My kids becoming teenagers and not wanting me to photograph. Like, I mean, I'm a photographer. I've been taking photos of them since they were, you know, born. Like 15 years I've been taking photos. And so for them to suddenly be like, get away from me, like that's a huge thing in my life. Like, what do you mean I can't take your photo? You know, like,
and I think also in this process, and I've seen this just even in my life with other stuff too, but you have to give yourself that space and time to actually mourn the loss of something that was once. And it like, I feel like sometimes it sounds cheesy and like, oh, or like it sounds like it wouldn't make that big of a deal, but it really does. It's like, because when you change from a different point of your life and something that you once did is now no longer, you need to take the time to reflect and be okay and kind of like have this little funeral for this thing in your life that is no longer. It's like, and I think in a lot of ways, even like with what we're all going through as a whole, like how we used to do things is never going to be the same. Never. Now, there will be some things that go back to more of the same, but like, we're still such in the beginnings of things. We have no idea what it's going to look like 2 years from now. Like, we really don't. And so, especially with all of the drastic changes that has taken place in our world, like drastic changes. I mean, I never thought in my like scenarios of things that, you know, countries would be locked down for a month or two. Like, never.
Yep.
You know?
Well, you don't think, you don't,
So
I mean, you can't even process
it's like we're still such at the beginning of it, but it's like taking that time and being like, it's okay to be sad that things are different. And just because we're sad about it doesn't mean that, one, we continue to be sad.
Yeah.
At some point you have to, like, you be sad and you like, you put it, like, it's almost like having this funeral. Like, you have to go through those steps of grieving. Like, you're gonna be a little mad. And you're, you know, and then you have to change your approach and go, okay, how can I think about this differently? How can I do things differently in the scrap room and just generally, because that will affect how you do things in your scrap room. You know, it's like if you are having to work more hours, you know, you might only be able to do little bits of stuff. You might only be able to take 5 to 10 minutes doing something. If you're really busy. If you're not really busy, you might have tons of time. That might be the time to sit down and go, what are things that I've always wanted to accomplish that I've never had the chance to do? You know, and just start by saying, like, making a list. You know, if you're someone who can't do lists, like, just start with one thing. Just do one thing.
Just do one thing. And that really is like the key. Like, just do one thing. If your mojo's not there, go on Pinterest, find a picture that inspires you and just go with that, or something, you know, find a color scheme that inspires you or something. And
or find a challenge that seems really fun. Or follow Vicky Boutin and, you know, make messy stuff. And I think that's the thing is a lot of those artists are coming online every day or almost every day because their way, they were used to moving around and showing other people how to do things, and now they're stuck at home too. So it's like they're trying to keep their creative flow going. So it's like, why not tap into that if you totally can? You know, it's like if you have a ton of time, yes, take an extra, you know, hour to watch scrapbooking videos. You know, it's like we have all these people that we can watch now because the YouTube community has grown so much, and there's such a variety of people on YouTube now. It's like it used to be a lot of the same types of styles for the most part. When we first started, a lot of us were doing really similar things, and now I mean, there were like two different camps of like really mixed media-y things with like the music instead of a voice layover, or but now it's like you really are seeing tons of different styles, and you know, find someone new that you've not watched before and watch a few of those. Go back and watch you can still watch all the two-piece videos. Go back and watch a whole bunch of those and see what people used to be doing and see how can you incorporate something old into what we're doing now, you know?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Incorporate old with new.
So
that is true.
It's like I wish I could commit to saying that, like on the Crafty Maven, we could help inspire other people by like being really posty, but I know I can't commit to that because like I can't because you know I still have to teach my kids, and now my husband's home working from home, so that brings a whole nother element of
that makes it harder. And that's the other thing. Now I kind of feel stifled because if I come in my room, I'm turning my back on my family because everybody's home, you know, and they've been home all day. And so I'm like, well, then shouldn't I be spending time with them? And I think that's the other thing. Like, our life has changed in this aspect where they're home all day. I'm not. And so I need my alone time in my room, but then I also feel a little bit of that mom guilt. Like,
I think having a realistic list of priorities and, you know, is important in a time like this. It's like, it's important for you to get your own time. It's important for you to have family time. It's important for you to help out with the things that have to be for your house to run, you know? So it's like, those really are the three things that are the most important.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out for you, and this is where being the mom guilt, you have to, and it is hard because every person is different and every personality is like, oh, like for one person, self-time might be the most important thing that they need to make sure that they schedule. But for some people, it actually might not be. It might be spending family time,
Yeah.
or it might be helping out with stuff that has to be done in the home, So it's like, and I think this is where not comparing yourself to what someone else seems like, because this is the other thing, is what we all post online
Yeah.
is only part of the picture of what's really going on. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, some of the scrapbookers and people in our community are really awesome with sharing total transparency about how things are going. And that's great. And that's great. I've been in that place where I've done that before. I'm also in a place now where I don't do that so much.
Yeah.
Some of it is not because I don't want to. Some of it is just my life is a lot busier, so I don't have time. Or I have more priorities for, doing certain things for my family that I didn't have before. But I will say that one of these things that I'm trying to figure out is how to get time for me that, and there's the boundaries for it, but making sure other people in my family, like my husband, that he can get that too, because if I'm in my room and I close the door, he's got to take care of the kids, I mean, and granted, my kids are old enough that for the most part, they can do a lot on their own.
They can take care of themselves. Yeah.
But, they do need someone to remind them to eat, dinner, because otherwise it's like 10 o'clock and you're like, oh, you're still up, and oh, well, we didn't have dinner. Or like, we have a rule in our house, you can't play your tablet unless you've eaten breakfast and done a chore. And what did I hear this morning when I got up at 8 o'clock? I heard the kids playing on their tablets, and I come out and have coffee, and then next thing I know, kids are coming out like, oh, well, we're really hungry. And it's like, but you're not supposed to be doing this. You should have eaten first. So it's like, I mean, kids' priorities are always, which, I don't blame them, but
I don't blame them either.
but it's just, so it's like trying to make sure I'm protecting and putting boundaries on what I do need to have priorities for, especially because it is stressful. And I think that's the thing, is when you're going through a very stressful time, you do need to have clear boundaries for space for you to be, and in our craft room, this is a place where we kind of work through things, maybe not like, oh, we're thinking about every scenario of working through things. We're working through things because we're putting paper on paper and we're making something messy, and we're just, all the emotions that we have is coming out through
we're working it out.
That is so important, because you need that time. But maybe, and I think this is where you have to not feel bad of, how does that look? Maybe you can't do that. Maybe you're really tired and you have, part of you just doing things is sitting down and reading a book.
Yeah. I've been doing a lot of that lately, actually. And it's felt really good. Like, my whole life doesn't just revolve around scrapbooking, and I'm kind of in that stage of life where my kids are growing up and I can actually hold a conversation with them and enjoy like a conversation. And it's not just all cute little antics that they're doing and they're entertaining me, it's like we're like actually holding conversations. And so I just have to adjust my thinking and how to approach life and scrapbooking and my mojo in a different way. And it's not a bad thing. I mean, I think I'm past the mourning part. Like, this last month has been a lot of me like mourning and not liking the fact that I can't take photos of my kids and scrapbook them and put them on YouTube, and stuff. And I've done that a lot. And so I'm slowly kind of working my way past that and trying to find solutions and what my new norm is going to be. But yeah, I don't know. It's always hard to get to the.
And then I think it's hard as a mom because your whole life for a long period of time is focusing on other people beside yourself. And then all of a sudden it comes to a point where you are forced to have to think about yourself because
they don't need you as
much. And they don't want you.
Yes.
So it's like, and that's one thing I've always tried to think about in my head, even while my kids were young, is that I'm preparing them for something else. So, you know, and
to be independent and not to need us.
And that's where I made the excuse to be able to scrapbook and have me time and go, you know, it's like, I want them to know that they can focus on themselves, but focus on other people at the same time. It is possible to do both things, you know? And I say that, and like, now I'm in a period of where I'm giving a lot more to my kids because we can hold conversations and can spend, you know, it's like, and they do still need some direction and they need me to make sure that they're doing it in the way that it needs to be done properly because, you know, it's like, I can tell my kids to sweep, or I don't know, I can tell my kids to mop and they still aren't always going to get it right. And they need someone to come back and say, well, no, you got to do it right. Because, you know, like some of my kids, they like to half do things sometimes, right? And so it's like, and that's the season I'm in, is like having these great conversations with them and having discussions, but also having to like kind of balance that, like letting them do it, but also making sure that they do it right so that it continues to stick.
Yeah.
And it takes more time for me because I do have to be available.
Yeah.
And they don't have. So, you know. And they talk back. Right. But
yeah, right. Well, so who was it that you said had a list of all the freebies that are around right now? Was it Tracy Reed?
Tracy Reed, on her site, her blog, she had a list with the links of places that had free stuff. I'm not sure if her list is like inclusive, like
updated,
completely updated. I know she's updated it since she put it up the first time. But I was somewhere else and I noticed that there was some other things that I didn't think she had on there yet.
Okay.
But I haven't been.
I'm thinking like if I were to scrap through like my emotions and like everything that's going on, I think also that might help like get me past this slump too and just like process what's been going on this last month. Because I feel like it is really a psychological and emotional thing that it's related to, because I know in January I was on top of my game and I was so excited and I was doing it and I was putting out YouTube videos, and then like February hit and it was just like, what? Like February and March were just not good months, and I kind of feel like it just went downhill and it started kind of being an emotional thing. So it's like, I feel like if we can process that part of life that's hard in a way, like in scrapbooking or something like that, maybe that'll help me get past this slump.
And I think for every person, it's different. Like, I know like certain things that I've been through, I have to wait till after it's kind of done or more done for me to go and reflect on it and be like, okay, what did I learn overall? But sometimes going through it doesn't mean that you can't be journaling about what you're feeling and then just go back through and document it later. But some people, like Sarah Scrapp, she did a whole bunch of document stuff on.
I know she did.
And I think that helps. So I think it's almost like figuring out and taking time to sit down and go, okay, what is best for me, not for, you know, so-and-so, not for Karen, not for Jenny, you know, or Stephanie, you know, it's like how everybody else is doing it. It might not be the way that's right for you. And I think taking the time and sit down, okay, what emotionally is good for me? What is going to help me get past that block? What is going to help me be productive? You know, and if it's just, like I said, making messy stuff, then maybe that's what you need to do. If it means you need to just journal, if it means you need to, you know, pick up project life and just document all this stuff, because there's tons of stuff to document right now. And this is, you know, or it's like or it could be a combination. And I think just being okay with what works for you and not, once again, not comparing yourself to everyone else.
Others, Yep.
I think that really, and consuming inspiration, you know, it's like the more you're listening, it's like, I think this is the part of the reason why I'm not as productive is I don't listen to scrappy podcasts as much anymore. I used to listen to Scrap Gals all the time, and now it's paid, and it's not a lot of money and stuff, and by the end I wasn't getting as much out of it. So I didn't feel for me that it was worth paying for it, but it's like I missed that. And I know that there's some other scrappy podcasts.
There are
things. So it's like maybe tapping into what there is and taking more listens, because like that's one thing that I have time for, is to kind of put you know, while I'm doing chores, put on a podcast while I'm doing dishes or cooking dinner, you know, or it's like something.
Well, and even if you, for me, like, even if I put on like a YouTube, like a scrapbooking video or something, and even if I'm just hearing somebody talk about their layout and explaining it, like, because a lot of times I'll put that on in the background when I'm scrapbooking, and I'm not even glancing over at the layout, you know, or anything. Like, it's just having somebody talking to you and talking about something that you enjoy. It kind of just helps spark that creativity, even if you can't stop what you're doing right now and create something. Like, at least it's there and you're partaking in that. And you know, that creativity you're going to remember, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I had this idea when I was listening, you know, to whoever create their layout. Like, I want to do this. And so when you have time, you can go to your desk and you can create something, and that something was sparked by what you were listening to. So even if you aren't like listening to a podcast, you can get inspiration even if you're not, you know, like watching a video or whatever. If you're just listening, I found, at least that's how I work too. Is it telling you time's up?
I was thinking we probably should wrap up. It's not been quite 40 minutes, but probably almost, because I think we started on the other channel around 9:45. So I imagine we don't have that much longer. It doesn't tell me how long it's been recording, so I feel like we've been talking for a while. So we have a lot of have some good suggestions and stuff. I'd be curious to see what people will say, what they're doing and what's helping for them, or what they're finding out and learning, because I think this is really just a whole learning process for us. It's a way of learning of how to change and how resilient are we, you know. And I think just listening to what other people are doing and applying what fits for you is what's going to help us all, you know, get through all these crazy times. And it might not, and you know, even if it isn't really crazy for one person right now, they might have a crazy time another point in their life, and they might be able to use this. So one of the things that I'm learning is that things that I've learned from past craziness, I'm able to apply it now, and it's helped me significantly. Like, I'm like, okay, this is what I gotta do. And it's
well, I was reading something earlier today, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was just somebody's post. Like, the reason you are the person you are today is because of everything that has happened to you, you know, like in the past. And you can always take what you've learned from those hard times in the past and apply them to this time. And it's going to teach you something different. It's going to help you in a different way, you know?
Yep.
So it's like we're always evolving. Yeah.
Or saying, nope, that didn't work that time.
Yeah. Yeah, that didn't work. What can I do? Yeah. And so, yeah, we're always changing and evolving and growing and becoming stronger.
Yeah.
Go us.
Okay, so I think we'll end this. I'll stop recording and we will make sure it gets up live.
Yay. Thanks for